power slows down by about 2%.
Wow. Yeah. So you're down to what now?
Like 3%.
Yeah, that's what to say. You're pretty far down, mate. Ah, it's an Aatrox ban. Rip. Zoe ban is important. The analyst just talked about Niski playing a lot of Zoe. His champ pool goes 7 games of Zoe, and then 1 game of everything from Irelia to Ryze to Syndra to Lucian mid. But the Zoe has been the key pick for Splyce. G2 do not want to grab it as a first pick. They want to have the option open for other things. That is why they banned it away. Also, the Rumble is important. Sadly kills one of our graphics that we had specifically on Odamna's Rumble.
We did have like 5 graphics in the last game that we didn't use at all. So I don't think we're in favor with the graphics team at the moment. Nocturne and Yasuo bans getting taken away by Splyce. And the Talia Hover to start us off from G2. They will lock that in. It's their first pick.
Still a flex pick. Can actually also be played bot lane for some interesting kill lanes if you want to go with that route. Odamna with the signature Maokai Rammus. Same thing for Xerxes. You know, I realized the Splyce team have a lot of champs they always hover. They kind of need Hylissang and support to always hover the Draven or Orianna as well. Corby is always Ahri. Odamna is Maokai and Rammus. Xerxes is Diana. On his side, it is a trend on the Splyce team. This is as standard as it gets though for Splyce. Gragas top lane. Jungle Trundle for Xerxes, his best pick. Ooh, that's a Jarvan locked in.
Yeah, and a Heimerdinger as well. So they're sticking with the mages down towards the bottom side, but Jarvan possibly top. Could be played support if you really wanted to.
I mean, yeah, if you're dumb, but I assume it's going to be Jarvan top lane taken against the Gragas. We've seen this a few times where teams grab the Jarvan, play towards the Jarvan lane in the early game, and then you can actually snowballing really hard.
But we've also seen it fail. I remember Whipper playing it earlier this day.
Definitely seen it fail. He's so squishy, and when he EQs forward, he's not getting out again. So if he does that, and the enemy jungler shows up, bam, you're dead. You are suddenly falling behind your lane. Swain, most likely going down to bot lane, can be swapped to mid, however, that is important to highlight. And of course, Yanan gets his Heimerdinger. Surprise is not banned, but that is one of the problems with being on red side against G2 Esports. You're kind of running out of bans, because you got the OP champs, and then you have Heimerdinger.
I mean, Splyce did decide to get rid of the Yasuo, which hasn't been played at all by G2 this split. So that is a ban
Scrims,
that could have
baby.
gone. Yeah, it's Scrims. It's definitely Scrims, but could have gone towards the Heimerdinger. You're going to get rid of the LeBlanc as well here, trying to narrow down Perks' pool just a little bit.
Yeah, it feels like Splyce have been looking at G2 and saying, okay, we think Perks is on a snowball champ. The Yasuo, the LeBlanc, like that's the kind of picks they're removing at the moment. We are missing their support, most likely, even though actually both Gragas and Trundle can go down to the support.
A lot of flexibility.
There's a lot of flexibility. Kasing, fun fact, has played 10 different champions already. You might as well add another one in either the Trundle or the Gragas if needed. I don't think he's really figured out what he wants to play yet, but he's going to be forced to do it soon. Orianna has become the new thing in Europe. Funny enough, we were the one region last patch that didn't play it, other than Selfie, who had 1 game on it, which is a while ago, if I remember correctly. Now everyone has realized you can just blind pick Orianna, and it's actually great.
Yeah, so they're going to get rid of that on the side of Splyce. G2 with their final ban. It's going to be the Jhin.
Oh, the Halo Blades Jhin, it's gone.
No Halo Blades for us in this game.
All right, let's see. Corby Lucian, we've seen that one before. Corby Ezra, we've seen that one as well.
So it does mean the Swain's going to go towards the mid lane instead of down towards bot.
And he wants, I think, the added range against the turrets especially. But Ezreal can get pushed in really hard by Heimerdinger, and you really don't have any all-in kill pressure, which is typically what a lot of teams are looking for against the Heimerdinger, because you can't really out-push him. Splyce are definitely going to be in a disadvantaged bot lane. Currently with the Jarvan top, if G2 succeeds with a gank there, that's another lane they can actually win. So I feel like on a G2 side, also with the Ryze, like I like the abilities they have early game, and I like the amount of lanes they can actually play around. You can gank mid really easily with the Ryze in there. You have push in bot lane, and you have kill pressure top. Like G2 are drafting a comp that can really go ham.
I think the Tahm Kench does round it out pretty well as well, because if you go ham, you need an escape tool in case you do get ganked early on down towards that bottom lane. It is going to be the Tahm for Wooded, gives you a bit of roam potential as well across the map. Lots of teleports at the moment for G2 Esports. Expect to see most of those stick, in all honesty.
And we also want to see easier ways to start fights, and that is the Jarvan from Wonder. Combine that with things like a Ryze ulti to activate the entire team. Let's see what we get from Kasing. It is going to be either the Trundle or it's going to be the Gragas. Sorry, going down to that bottom lane is what we expect at least. And as I said, 10 different champions so far.
See,
why not add another?
I didn't want to pull you up on this, but I'm pretty sure he's played 8 this split.
What?
I think you might be looking at the entire season.
I'm definitely...
You're looking at Rift Rivals as well.
I got Rift Rivals because he played at Rift Rivals.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Usually we just talk about the EU LCS, but I'll give you that one. 11 champions or 9 champions, depending on what you look at.
Last year we didn't talk about Rift Rivals. This year we won.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So we do talk about Rift Rivals.
Yeah, Splyce winning did not have good consequences.
So Gragas Ezreal, I want to see how they play this lane. Obviously Gragas against Heimer turrets.
Yes.
You have another tool to try and shut down the Heimer push. But all-laning with Gragas Ezreal, like, Gragas all-in is great. However, I don't feel like they have enough damage against a Tahm Kench Heimerdinger. Like, body slam forward, devour the Heimerdinger, and you just get shot by turrets if they are up. So
it does give you a lot of options for team fights later on and for roam potential as well, alongside the Swain.
I mean, look at it. It's like 4 tanky champions and an Ezreal sitting safely in the background. So Splyce is looking for team fights. It's a massive amount of scaling. It's how they found success last split. I just want to see how they play the bot lane. They have Ezreal Q and Gragas Q to take down turrets. So there is ways for them, of course, to actually try and shut down the Heimerdinger. They probably just can't kill him because Wadid is next to him on a Tahm Kench.
Does make it a little bit difficult for him. G2 on the other side, playing traditional bottom lane for them. This split, the Heimerdinger Tahm Kench, and then Perkz is sitting on the rise as well. Something we haven't seen from him yet this split, but something he began to become very good at, looking at last split. Originally, of course, there was a little bit of a Twitch chat copy-paster about him.
Yeah.
But then his rise became good.
Exactly. And that's the thing. If people meme you, get good. Yeah. And suddenly, people won't do it again. Unless you feed this game, it's definitely back. I guarantee you it's back if he actually does poorly. Rise though is one of those champions where a lot of mid laners just don't want to play him because he's so hard to properly execute. But if you are a really good Rise player, you can actually succeed on the pick. A lot of it comes down to how mobile and active you are early game. Because pure 1v1, you're not going to kill the Swain, especially not also because there's a cleanse on Nisqi's side. But if you can actually utilize the extremely long cooldown ulti to go to a side lane, I'm mainly looking at top in this case with the Jarvan, your skirmish setup, because you have a point-and-click CC and a high single target damage, is so strong at shutting down teams in the early game.
We did just have a pause as we did disconnected getting into the game. He has reconnected and play will resume in just a few short moments. So no long delay there at all. Splyce and G2 taking to Summoner's Rift once again. And the story we often say about G2 is how they're fighting for the top of the EU LCS, how they're fighting, you know, Fnatic to see who is the best team in Europe, who can be the 5-time champions. And now, you're looking at G2 post Rift Rivals, you're saying they've gone 1-3, they're not in a good spot. Are they actually starting to fall down the table? Will they get a bye in playoffs, or will they be in that 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th spot?
Not that far down. They fell behind last week. But that's the kind of thing is you have had another week now to kind of figure out what went wrong after Rift Rivals when they went for that 1-3 run. And if you then beat Splyce right now, everything is back to normal. You're going to be, you know, 1 win ahead of Fnatic before that game, which is the next one against Schalke. You're trying to stay even with Misfits, who is currently ahead of you. So I think if you are G2 Esports and if you're Splyce, like, there's 2 different stories in terms of what they're fighting for. G2 is still fighting for top 2 placement. They're still fighting for a place straight into the semi-final in the summer split, which is so important when it comes to locking down worlds. And if you are Splyce, you're just fighting for playoffs because you are sitting in that massive group with teams like Vitality, who won earlier today, with Rockcat, who also won earlier today. And if you lose here, instead of you being tied with those 2 teams like it was going into the day, you were suddenly 1 win behind. And that's kind of the problem when you are this even in the standings. And someone needs to miss playoff.
That's true. Not every team can go. Odoamne and Wonder going to trade here. Mundo, of course, slightly nerfed on this patch. Doesn't get quite as much health back on those cleavers. And Wonder, channeling his inner Samsung there with the dodge in a world champion. There's a lot of Samsung skins here, actually.
Yeah, with the dodge, you're right.
Mate, that's what you have to do if you want to be a world champion.
It's true, dodge
This is why you're only Diamond 5, okay?
If you never get hit by
Learn from the
anything.
Diamond 2 player deficiency.
I'm actually so happy I'm Diamond now because that used to be, that's why you're Plat.
Yeah,
that just feels way worse.
It does.
You do realize my win rate is like 90%.
Yeah, on Zyra.
And Fiddle is like 78.
Yeah. So what elo are you?
So if I just play a little bit more...
Why don't you play a little bit more?
I have a life. Unlike you.
That's true. My life is League of Legends, and I'm very happy with that being the case. Maybe there's a reason you went freelance in the end, Deficio. Let's talk about the early game here. Jankos clearing out his blue buff, went red.
I mean, that's fair.
To the Razor Beaks, to the blue. Now can push up towards that Scuttle Crab if he wants. It looks like Xerxes just going to do a relatively full clear of his own bottom side and then go up towards the top as well.
Odamna, he is on a famous dog champ. He is one of those top laners who's never complaining when he's stuck on a tank in a matchup that's tough to play. At least I've never heard him once complain about that one. He's probably not going to get a lot of help this game. He's probably going to get killed by Talia. There's going to be a Rise. There's most likely Wadid TPing up with Yana at some point. So this is not an easy game for him to play. Xerxes, will he spot him?
They know Jankos is there because he walks across this ward. You can see Jankos on the Crux. Odoamne can come and react very quickly to this.
Oh, Niski's coming too.
Jumped up. Niski's on his way. Jankos needs to try and flash away. Teleport coming in. Niski's going to land a Vision of Empire. And that is first blood to Splyce.
Did not think that Odoamne was going to get a lot of help up here, but because of that ward placed, they saw Jankos step in. There was no help from his mid laner. Perkz had already decided to push and go back to base. And in the end, Jankos ends up overextending in the enemy jungle. And that is the perfect start for Splyce.
And Jankos has really struggled when they haven't been playing funnel. You can see here, goes in, it's like, oh, I'm going to take away these Krugs, but this ward is the MVP for Splyce.
And then he stays, kills it, enemy mid laner goes missing. I think at this point, he kind of knows he screwed it up because Niski's moving. And the moment Xerxes starts trading him, you just can't get away from this one, even with the TP coming in from Kising to try and get more players up here. Jankos goes down, and look at those stats here. I think, you know, on the right side, you can see some of the numbers not being great for him, but I think one of the big ones for me is the mid lane jungle proximity being second lowest of junglers here when he's not obviously playing a funnel comp. And that is one of the problems for G2 in standard comps the last 2 weeks is they're not getting Perkz ahead, which was the case before. And obviously one of the reasons the funnel comp is not being used is because of the change that happened here in the patch where with the jungle items, if you are the one with the most gold, you don't get the full amount when you are stepping in to kill lane minions. It makes it harder to snowball out of control. Let's see what happens top. Gank is coming.
Pretty easy gank here for Jankos as well. Odoamne doesn't have a flash and will land the smite, get the kill up towards that top side. Niski trying to trade with Perkz in the mid lane. Those double buffs keeping him topped up on mana as well, and Perkz will be forced away, but has the teleport if he wants to rejoin the fight.
So the prediction still stands. Jankos will go top lane, will kill Odoamne at some point. Really sucks for Odoamne. Not only did he have to flash in the first fight, he also used his TP back to then die. So now he needs to run back. Like, look at the minimap. That's just painful. Look at the top lane turret killing all these minions. This is a level 4 Mundo. He's already crying. These minions are gonna die. Oh, man, this is like the worst kind of situation. Oh, can he get in range? I think he got experience.
Maybe got a little bit of experience, but it's already 20 CS behind. G2 and Splyce are obviously looking to make it to the finals in Madrid on the 8th and 9th of September. If you want to watch the event live, where can you go, Deficio?
To eu.lesports.com/Madrid. Hey, synergy.
Teamwork, let's go.
And then you can buy tickets. Remember, don't just go to the site, actually go buy the tickets as well.
I mean, you can just go to the site if you want to watch it live, but you won't be let in to the event.
Yeah, that's... You can't just show the website when you're there.
It's like, hey, I've got the website. I have access to the internet on my phone.
Doesn't fully work. Xerxes, he's spotted. I believe there's a Ghost Poro in there as well, giving that extra stats over to Jankos. Look, no, is it Jankos? Yeah, it is his. Domination on his side. Oh, he's top again, guys. I wonder why he's top lane.
It's as if ganking a Mundo can work out well for you. And we talked about getting Wonder ahead on this Jarvan, one of your main tools of engage. Gonna jump in with the Cataclysm. Odoamne not 6 yet. So much damage going out from the threaded volley. And G2 once again execute towards the top lane.
And just let me quote Odoamne right now in the comms. I am not obviously revealing anything with this. I'm just saying that Odoamne is currently telling his team that he's enjoying League of Legends. He's having a lot of fun in this game, and he feels very useful. One of those 3 things he just said.
Oh, I feel so useful.
Guys, this is awesome. Look how my turret is dying at 6.5 minutes. I'm losing more minions. I'm level 5, but I can run fast because I upgraded my shoes. Let's go, Odo. Back to lane.
You can just see him walking in with some Yeezys, just being like, yeah, mate. Check.
Can he get 1 minion?
Oh, is he
Hit it with an X?
Yes!
He's back in the game.
No longer on a dog champion now that he got that minion, but as you say, Ninja Tavis has been picked up for him. Xerxes is here towards the top side to try and stop G2 from doing anything
here's Jankos again.
Unsurprisingly, Jankos is on his way. Has the Weaver's Wall as well. Xerxes
is higher level than Odoamne at the moment and will now steal his experience as well.
not good for him. Teleport coming in
Oh,
from
that's
Perks
a
as well.
rise.
G2, there's the TP.
No!
This is great stuff
Odoamne!
from G2. Odoamne dead once again. Tower will fall and Xerxes in no man's land. Once again, G2 come up towards the top lane and get 2 kills.
So we said Perks will roam top at some point, and we also highlighted Wadir and Yana will most likely join as well, because why not? You might as well send 5 people to kill Odoamne. He's running back. He's still level 5. He's not gotten that level 6 yet. Luckily for him, in the patch notes 2 patches ago, the early game death timer before level 8 was changed so you can actually feed faster because you respawn quicker, and then you can go back to your lane and the enemy team can send 5 people and kill you.
Yeah, and we talked about G2 having all those extra teleports in the pick and ban phase. Well, this is what it can do.
I'm glad they used him on killing the 0-3 Mundo.
It's so important. They do get first tower blood out of it as well. And one of the reasons they can do that is once again we see Hyanan on the Heimerdinger. He keeps picking these push champions, pushing in the wave bot. It gives Wadid time to roam away, and it means there's no pressure on the G2 bot lane.
Right, that's what kind of we briefly mentioned in the pick and ban phase that I felt a little bit bad about in the Splyce draft was they sacrificed a top laner with the Mundo pick, and then they don't actually get a winning lane somewhere else. Because if you're going to sack one lane, you have to win somewhere else. But Ezreal and Gragas against Heimerdinger Tahm Kench is never going to be a lane where you get a kill. So they just kind of accepted, okay, bot lane is a push lane. Mid lane, you're not solo killing mid laners with things like Swain versus Ryze. And that means G2 had no pressure against them anywhere. They could just keep going top. They're even going to swap down bot lane with this Fed Jarvan now, get a bot lane turret. So this draft from Splyce is just way too passive in the early game, especially when you have such a losing match up top when the enemy team can actually go and gank it.
Well, we talked about how it was, the draft looked similar to Splyce from Spring Split. That's what they did in Spring.
A lot of late game.
Incredibly passive. They gave up all of the early game, and then they said, okay, we'll put Kobe on a hyper carry like the Caitlyn and try and just scale up. But it's not working for them here. G2 already 2 towers to 0 up. 2,000 gold ahead, and they're looking for a little bit more in this play on the mid lane. Niski goes into the Demonic Ascension, into the stopwatch as well, will keep himself alive, but that is a broken stopwatch now. It means that a repeat gank is on the cards.
While this happened, I know we were making a bit of fun of Odoamne before, because Wonder walked bot lane, our good friend Mundo actually got to push out a wave. Look at that CS. He almost didn't. If he just got there before 10 minutes, he could actually been ahead at 10 minutes. That's the stat we like to use. It could have suddenly looked great for him. He only lost by 4 CS.
Yeah, that's hardly anything.
I think it shows that Odoamne and Wonder are even in this game. He's actually ahead right now.
Yeah. So this, like, Odoamne is easily the best CSing top laner we've ever seen. Because Wonder, remember, Wonder was Rift Rivals MVP. Odoamne might be best in the West, actually, with these CS numbers.
It's true. Wonder did play very well at Rift Rivals. Did not face any European top laners worth highlighting.
That's the difficulty.
That has definitely changed a little bit. But what he did, obviously, he went bot side to guarantee another turret. So Wonder is being a team player, and he's getting extra gold for his team.
He is 800 gold ahead at the moment as well, which is a pretty sizable margin. And after Splyce made that early play, we haven't really seen much more from them. It's been all about Jankos playing this Tilly up towards that top side, all about Wonder as well. And once again, that's the matchup we're going to see. Top and jungle all here at the same time. And Xerxes gets caught in the Cataclysm, taken out. The Weaver's Wall catch out. Odo, Realm Warp in. Odo flashes, but I don't know if G2 are going to let him get away. They will sacrifice any more pressure.
They got overconfident. They saw the CS was even. They felt like, okay, we're just as strong as they are down here in this lane. But it's not just a 2v2. There's that Ryze ulti. It's a long cooldown, but if you use it effectively, you are still joining a side lane fight. I think even if 2v2 they would have lost, seeing as Jarvan had already killed Cersei here.
Look at that CS difference in the mid lane as well. Perks 30 farm up over Niski, even after Niski got double buffs and first blood. Somehow Perks has just been able to weasel his way into a sizable gold lead.
And get the first Drake as well on the side of G2 Esports. So 0-3 Mundo, 0-2 Trundle from Splyce's side. I feel like the top side has let them down. But again, I just want to highlight how they didn't actually have any good lanes they could really play around with the draft. Unless Kesing and Kobe could surprise us. But I think you needed a level 6 on the Gragas first. And before he even got level 6, the top lane turret and the bot lane turret, it was already dead.
And now they're going to look for the Rift Herald as well. Only 12 minutes in, they have that 3,000 gold lead. And this is looking much more like the G2 we saw before Rift Rivals. Not the G2 that's been 1-3, the G2 that went 6-0. Have to remember they were undefeated until they played up against, I think it was Misfits who beat them for that first game. It must have been, because Misfits are undefeated.
Yes.
Must have been.
I believe you are correct. Safe statement.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight that G2 swapping to the Rift Rivals style of Wonders on a carry again. Oh, let's see what happens here. They're even sending the Heimerdinger.
Pixel Voyage comes in, the Dinger joins the fight, but Odo now has the Sadism. Level 5 no longer, he's been able to scale up a little bit. We did with the Ghost in. Gets a level up off the minions, looking for a bit of a gobble here.
No.
Onto Odo.
Leave him alone!
Him back into the stun, into the knockup. Goodbye, Odo. Hyanan with the final blow.
And if we look at the minimap, whenever this happens, 3 G2 players goes to the lane to kill Oramne. Nothing else is happening on the map instantly. It takes time for Splyce to push out their lanes. They will look to top lane. Perks should know this. Yankees is around. There's no TP from Wadid yet, unless he can swap to it instantly. But Wonder on his side is currently sitting with his. He's just going to take a bot lane to it. And Splyce, because they now invest everything to go top lane, might even lose the mid lane turret, or at least they lose a lot on it. Like, they're just getting destroyed in terms of map movements.
G2 just pulling them all around the map. Wonder will get the tier 2 here in the bottom lane. 14 minutes in, getting a tier 2 is an incredible thing for G2. 5,000 gold lead, they got a lot of damage on mid as well. Able to protect top lane.
A good friend with Deed is running Demolish because, yeah, I mean, when you get to these turrets, you got to deal more damage. Oh, he's coming mid.
So Niski needs to get out of here if he can. Flashes across the wall, but Jankos is there to meet him. The waiting arms of the Polish jungler. Jankos gets another kill for himself.
I just keep looking at the minimap every single time G2 falls a play. All of Splyce are just sitting further down on the map, behind in every single lane, can't push anything. They're just trying to scale, but they don't even have proper wave clear. So they're just like, guys, can you stop forcing plays on us? We need like 20 more minutes.
They're not going to get it at the rate things are going. Second tier 2 in the mid lane is down. G2 7-1 up.
It's clean.
7,000 gold ahead, Deficio.
It is a clean game.
This is what you want
Esports.
from your former finalists.
I mean, of course, this is again why we talk about G2 fighting for first place and not fighting for just the playoffs.
Yeah, I think when I said 6th earlier, what I meant was first, obviously.
Right, because that's obviously very close to each
they're
other.
very close. Like.
Yeah, middle of the pack, first place, who cares?
Yeah, same thing.
There's a replay of Niski dying. Great little play from G2, sending 5 members against 1. Typically, then you kill him.
Yeah, usually in a 5v1 you do win.
Yeah.
That's what I've found across the course of my League of Legends career. I know you don't play that many games, so maybe it's just observing.
I play a lot of ARAM. I consider myself an ARAM master.
When do you ever end up in a 5v1 on an ARAM map?
Very often. Very often.
Okay.
I'm one of the guys who, in the late game, like to see my team go in and all die, and then I, alone, 1v5, tries to carry the game. I lose a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a great strategy. I don't recommend it. But it's due to the picks. Stupid pick and ban
yeah,
phase.
it's random, you know, you can never select it. This is actually G2's largest gold lead at the 15-minute mark since week 1. Seems to be back to their former selves, almost 7,000 gold ahead.
Because that's the thing, before Rift Rivals and even during Rift Rivals, like, they were actually one of the best early game teams.
Yeah.
We had to go with like Misfits and Fnatic, funny enough, the teams at the top. And typically it was just extremely fast snowball. The moment you fell behind against them, especially against the funnel comps, like no one could stop Perks, you would just get a bunch of kills. This game, Perks is actually supporting the rest of the team. Yankees is getting kills. Wonder, of course, is the one they're playing around, being part of every single kill so far on the Jarvan. And now at this point, they have snowballed so fast and killed so many turrets already that it almost feel like they're missing objectives to take. Like, you have to take the enemy jungle. You obviously want to get the last tier 2 turret, which is what you're building for now. Invade the jungle, wait for your wave to push in. But you can't just rush a Baron and look to end the game.
You gotta wait 3 minutes.
Yeah, you gotta wait. You actually have to slow down a little bit at some point, but grab everything on the map. Splyce can sit back at their own turret. They've done that all game long anyway, so they've kind of seen it already. Niski, no flash on his side.
Reaper's Wall is actually going to separate him. He's pulled down straight away. There's going to be a big fight here in the top lane. Niski down straight away. Odoamne joins the fight. We did knock back into the Cataclysm. Wonder there as well in the midst of it all. And G2 able just to kite back from the tower as much as they need. See, Jankos, one of the main threats here for G2. Already finished that Morello and the Runic Echoes. Wonder going towards mid. Kasing does not find the engage he wants. Goes golden.
Stopwatches.
But yeah, he is pretty darn dead, Deficio.
That is a tilter from Kasing. Tried because Wadid had left the fight, at least for a moment. Failed the body slam flash. Then he wasted stopwatch, and his team had already gone back to base. Whoops.
Yeah, and from a team that almost got perfect gamed last week, we're now seeing them almost perfect game Splyce. Only 1 kill separating them from that perfect game. They're going to get a Mountain Drake for themselves.
So this is the setup we mentioned. They set up a push top lane, then they go into the enemy jungle while they wait for the minions to push. So they force Splyce away from the top side, isolate them, and then go for this play. It's just a great setup by G2. It starts the fight. They get the first kill, and now we just got to look at Gragas. Kasing right there, level 8. He makes the call, guys, let's go. I can get these guys. Wadid is gone. Look at this. Oh. Failed the combo, did not get in range properly, and then you die.
Yeah. He's trying something at least. I think Splyce at this point just kind of have to try whatever they can. They're 9,000 gold down, and it's not even the 20-minute mark. Deficio, like, they're not in a good spot at all.
It's a great comment.
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes.
That's Diamond 2 analysis for you right there.
Dr. Medic. Smart man.
Thanks, man. You're pretty smart yourself.
Do you consider Splyce dead at the moment? Or is there a chance?
Not yet. This is kind of like, you know, you're seeing some arrhythmias, patients circling the drain, you're standing there, you're pumping fluids, you've got the antibiotics coming in, you're calling consultants saying, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do.
Not the words you want to hear from a doctor.
No.
Definitely not.
Usually you don't say it in the patient's earshot.
Okay.
Or they're unconscious, and so it doesn't really matter
Then
what
it
you
doesn't,
say.
yeah, you can kind of say whatever. But. So we're still trying to get a Splyce back to life. But he's holding on. Sadly for them, G2 Esports are not going to stop.
Yeah, and the scaling that we talked about for them is so far away. Like, you're looking 20 minutes from now before they're even in a position to win a team fight.
Oh man, it's going to take forever for them to actually get there. They need G2 to be overconfident in a fight and give up a bunch of kills to buy more time for Splyce. But as long as G2 set up the Baron properly, they should get it, and that probably opens up all the inhibs, and then you can't really defend with the comp here. Fight is starting.
Weaver's always going to come out. Odoamne and Kasing trying to find a flank, but it's not how you find a flank that's important. It's whether you can actually win the fight after the flank is initiated.
G2 might not even need the Baron medic. They might just go for the turret. Wave did die there from Kobe, so let's just go for the big purple worm if you want to.
Do you want to do it with only Kasing dead, though? Because there's always the opportunity for a steal from Xerxes.
Yeah, but worst case, you engage with Wonder.
It's true. They're going to start up the Baron. Remember that our next game is the match of the week between Fnatic and Schalke. You can watch the action through the eyes of Nuke Duck, who I know you love, in our beta POV stream.
This game is not over.
No, it's paused.
It is paused. 10-1 for G2 Esports, 10k gold lead, 6 turrets to 0, 2 drakes to 0. And the only member on Splyce's side who's not died yet is our good friend Kobe down the bot lane.
Yeah, and he's actually never died on Ezreal this split. So
never
maybe
died.
he can keep those stats. He's only played it twice, but he is yet to die. Went 10-0-4 and 6-0-11 against Roccat and Fnatic, respectively.
We'll need a scoreline like that if they're going to win this game.
I mean, it would be helpful if you could go 1-0-0,
Yeah.
or even 0-0-1 for Splyce. I do have a quick statistic I want to give you. This is not a quick stat. It's just a statistic I want to give you quickly as we look at this replay. Actually, let's look at the replay first, and then I'll give you my quick statistic.
Well, Kasing, no flash, no way for him to get out. Really great use of Talia ultis this game from Jankos. Like, we pointed out at the start of this game that he had struggled a little bit in non-funnel comps so far. I think this game he's looking fantastic on the Talia. It's just easy pickup for them. I believe the game is restarting. I'm not sure what the problem was.
We'll find out in a second, I'm sure. As the game does restart, here's my quick statistic. Largest gold deficit, or largest gold lead for any team at the 20-minute mark was 8,291. That has been surpassed by G2. 9,425 gold ahead in this game at 20 minutes, and they're looking to make it a little bit more as once again they catch out Odoamne, who I'm sure is saying he's very much enjoying being useful and
Oh yeah.
facilitating his team in this game.
He absolutely loves his team, this game, sorry. And this draft, he's left on his own, and G2 Esports, after so many people started questioning, are they still one of the top teams in Europe after they lose to Rocket out of nowhere? They got stomped by them, honestly, after they completely backfired up in the top lane with the Urgot pick. But man, what a turnaround. And Splyce, sometimes they end up shooting themselves in the foot. And that's kind of thing when they go too much into, oh, look guys, great, Brewster calm, big team fights, we can get there. This meta is not really about late game team fighting. It is really about early game snowball. And G2, they show that.
And we had statistics where at the 15-minute mark, if you're ahead in the EU LCS, you win 80% of the game. It's like, yes, you can try and gamble for the 20%, but why not just go with the much more likely 80%?
Cersei is here, will not get any entrance. Jankos is the one with the smite, by the way.
Flashes in for it.
He was the smiter. So.
Not sure he needed to flash in there. Wonder on the chase onto Cersei and Niski. Here comes the realm what we did, and Perks on the engage path, and already one down for Splyce. Cersei will just about get away, and Kasing with a great knockback onto Jankos resets the fight. G2 maybe just want to lick their wounds a little bit here, because they did lose Wonder, and they want to keep that Baron alive.
He got confident after the Baron, wanted to engage. The team wasn't there with him just yet, but they secured the Baron. They stopped Cersei from getting in. Jankos realized, oh, I gotta smite this one. Flashed over the wall as well, and that's what they needed, because the only objective you care about for G2 is just break the inhib turrets. The moment you get down to 2 inhibs, I don't think Splyce can defend. They're forced to sit under the turrets. Like, it gets too difficult on their side. So that's all you need at this point. Just break in, get inhibs, you win this game easily.
I love the coordination though, because Jankos flashes out and Wonder's like, no, I'm going for it, guys.
I mean, they had enough ultis to get multiple members there, but Wonder just ended up running a little bit too far away from his team.
Cersei still survived at the end of it all as well, so it did end up being a 1-for-0 trade in favor of Splyce. Take what you can at the moment, I guess.
The smallest win right there.
2 items are finished onto Kobe though, so he is scaling up. You've got Rod of Ages and Zhonya's on Niski. He's an entire item behind Perks, but we'll ignore that for the moment.
I would say half an item.
Half an item?
A bit more than half. It's only
I guess it's a blasting wand. But still, not in the best of shapes.
Definitely not been the case on his side. Important, Kobe is still not, dying.
Yeah, yet to die. I think that's Splyce's minigame now, or at least Kobe's minigame. It's like, keep my Ezreal KDA up in those high numbers.
KDA is not great though. They don't really have anything in it.
Well, but if he dies, it would halve his KDA.
Yeah, that's obviously.
Or actually, it
goes into.
It would technically make it tangible, because at the moment it's infinite.
There's
with no deaths.
There, so he needs to get a bunch of kills on the way out, but Jankos tries to zone them off the turret. Need a bunch of hits from Yanin. Oh, bot lane.
Odoamne down to half HP already.
Just need 2 inhibs.
And the cannons are doing the work. That's all they need them to do. Focusing down those inhibitor towers. We did, and Yanin forced back in the mid lane, but Perks is bringing up a wave towards top side as well.
They're trying to gank him. Look at Cersei. I know, mind he steps away when Perks does not just run forward instantly.
Tower goes down in the bottom lane as well. Inhibitor line has been cracked by G2. Still, that cannon survives, and Odoamne Kobe will try and clear it out. Perks is being ganked, as you say, up towards the top side. Cersei there, but the Tahm Kench going to come in straight away, and Niski goes golden, but not even in his ultimate. He will ball. Wonder still pushing in the bottom lane, and Jankos gets the mid inhib tower.
And G2 just been so fast with Talia ultis, Ryze ultis, and Tahm Kench ultis. Like, their comp, when you fall behind against this, it's just so hard to play against, because you can never do anything in the side lane. The moment you try and gank anything, 3-4 players show up instantly. So the draft from G2 is just perfect at actually snowballing this game from an early lead into a win. 3 inhibs gone instantly. Splyce without any wave to trying to defend. I guess the only positive is the globals can't be used here.
And Kobe hasn't died, which is the very positive thing for him. Cersei, though, will go down once again. We did get the kill on the Trundle. Both Nexus towers fall, and it looks like G2 are well on their way back to their winning ways here. They're going to go 8-3 against Splyce.
Great game from G2. It looked easy, but they still had to execute a lot with their ultis, especially to constantly move around the map, so we have to give them credit for that. I have to say, I didn't see a way for Splyce to try and be proactive in the early game, and they had bot lane getting pushed in and at top lane in a matchup where you can't trade against the jungle, and the enemy team could literally walk top like 10 times, and you never even touch the turret on the other side of the map. Like, I feel bad for them. I don't think there's anything you can do. Like, you are literally left there on a Mundo, and they're saying, we might try and send Cersei up to help you. He can't really help you, but we will try. And then you're gonna get ganked 10 times in the first 10 minutes.
You're gonna just have to grin and bear it at that point, don't you? Splyce, we talked about how they're trying for those playoff berths. This sort of loss is not good for them at all. 5-6 now, lagging behind Vitality, who've been able to pick up those lower, the wins against the lower teams. Splyce really need to outplay game if they're going to get to that 6th or even 5th or 6th playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they're fighting against Vitality, Giants, Rocket,
yeah.
like these guys, Schalke as well, like these teams. So Splyce are not fighting against the top teams.
No.
Like that one was the case last split when they were sitting up at the top of the standings. Not the case anymore, and especially now when you lose this badly, like the gold graph. That little red part on the left, that's when Jankos walked in and died because he was walking over a ward. Everything else was Odamne dying,
yeah.
and then G2 just had everything.
Jankos was the highest damage dealer in the game, and let's have a look at some of the highlights from G2's jungler. No longer the support king. Was the first blood king in this game in giving it up rather than taking it himself?
This was just right after. Like, there's no reason to not just go top again because there's no flash on Odamne. He just TP'd back to lane.
This is a great play from Ansama.
No, but look how good Jankos is here. He's actually playing for Ansama.
Is he? I mean, he could be playing Evelyn in that clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, just dodging around the side of it.
I think Jankos gets full credit for that kill as well in the bot lane, and that's really where you see a star player. When you can carry 2 games and only play for 1
and play AD carry as well when you're a jungler.
I mean, Jankos can do it all.
I actually have a theory. You know how Jankos has been talking about, you know, the fact that he keeps playing supports, right? He kept playing Braum, kept funneling onto perks. I'm pretty sure the secret he talks about in Mic Check is the fact he's got a twin brother who is actually a support main, and he replaces him when they want to play Braum and they want to do the funnel comps. I think it's really... It's a very good theory, I think.
I mean, yeah, it might be true. Could you imagine 2 Jankos on the same team?
I can imagine 2 Jankos on the same team.
A lot of talking, a lot of laughing.
Well, be sure to give us your player of the game vote as well on at LoL Esports on Twitter. We've narrowed it down to Wonder, Jankos, and Hjarnan, or second Jankos. Schalke 04 have racked up 4 wins in a row, but for now, they're against the Stars Fnatic, the current EU LCS champions. Be sure to tune in for the explosive match of the week after the break. But first, let's check in with Law and one of the 2 Jankoses.
Thank you, Medic, and thank you, Jankos, for joining me here. How do you feel about your performance today?
I'm really sad about the fact that I died really fast, level 3. I felt like I didn't see it coming, even though it was kind of clear from them, and they showed it on the map that they are coming for me. So I was really disappointed with that, but afterwards we kind of bounced back and killed Mundo a lot of times, and then my champ is really snowbally. So I think it was fine, but could have been better.
Yeah, and still, you had a bit of a slump after Rift Rivals, obviously. So how do you feel as a team right now?
I think like this week of scrims was 10 times better than the last 2-3 weeks. So I'm pretty confident going into this week. And even though I ran it down level 3, then still we kind of stomped Splyce. And I expect similar result tomorrow. And now, since I said that, we will lose, so it's doomed. Every time I say it, we lose. But I think we should win against Schalke tomorrow, and it should be 2 a week.
Well, what is your mindset when you start a game and you go wrong like you did today? How do you pick it up?
Excuse me?
How do you pick it up when you, the beginning of the game go wrong and then you have to bounce back again?
I don't think it's something you should care about. I think when you die in solo queue or when you die on stage, it's kind of similar. So either it's FF20 or you can just kind of try to bounce back and you can try to make plays and you still have the same champion. And since you are, you know, 400, 500 gold behind because of the kill, it doesn't really impact the game as hard as you would think. Especially in like matchups that we can still gank, even though the first gank didn't work out. They used 2 flashes, so we kind of knew that they will keep dying if we keep going for the plays. And I think it worked out well.
And now about the fans more, how do you feel when you know people are expecting so much from you guys?
I don't feel like people are expecting too much. I mean, maybe they are, maybe they are not. I mean, we are just trying to like play our game, and I feel like all the teams in Europe are kind of beatable right now, even though Misfits are still clearly the best team, at least when it comes to the score. I think Fnatic, for example, they are playing way, way better than they were at the beginning of the split. So I think we have like a clear top 3 teams, or the teams that will play fight for the win in playoffs. But I don't really put a lot of pressure on myself that I have to win because of my fans. I'm really happy to show them that we are a good team, but also we as a team are working to be better, and that's what kind of I focus on.
Well, that's good to know, and I hope you didn't jinx it for tomorrow. Good luck on that. Now we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back for match of the week, Fnatic versus Splyce. But before that, can Rise save Runeterra? Let's find out in Rise Call of Power.